I noticed the definitive verse in Hebrews 9. And it says there, "It is appointed unto men," women, "once to die." It's appointed once to die. Now, I presume that the writer of Hebrews meant with dignity. I don't think that he had in his mind, men falling from a helicopter with gearbox trouble to their deaths in the sea. I don't think he had in his mind, because obviously he wasn't there, and it was way, way back, the Hillsborough tragedy, when the whole lot came tumbling down, killing many at the football stadium. I don't think this idea of appointed to death once has got anything to do with the earthquake in Turkey. Or being blown up in Afghanistan by a suicide terrorist. And I don't think, at first sight, the crucifixion. It is appointed unto men to die once. What about Jesus? Very, very different. Oh, very, very different. Because when I look through the Gospels, I see in Mark chapter 8 and verse 31, Jesus said, he must be killed and after 3 days rise again. This is way, way back in Mark. Jesus foretells his death. And what we are saying is that God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. And as we have been singing over the past fortnight, Jesus is alive. Our hearts know well. We know he's alive because it's in here. In your heart and in mine. And of course, Longius, in charge of the crucifixion, sums it all up when Pilate's wife, the superstitious lady, came to the centurion and said to Longius, do you think he's dead? Do you think Jesus is dead? You were there. You were administering the crucifixion. Did you think he's dead? Typical Pilate's wife. She'd suffered bad dreams ever since the crucifixion. And Longius, the centurion at the crucifixion, said, woman, Jesus is not dead. Now this is the centurion, not a disciple. Jesus is not dead. Where is he then? Said Pilate's wife. He's let loose in the world, where neither Roman nor Jew can stop him, and no one can stop him now, nor his truth. Now this is a centurion to Pilate's wife. You can't stop him. He's alive forevermore. He is the Christ of the Galilean road. He's the Christ of the Jericho road, the Jerusalem road, the Damascus road. He has become the Christ of every road on planet Earth. And I can't say that too strongly. The Christ of Durham Road, yes. The Christ of Annfield Plain. the Christ of Dipton Road. That's Jesus, alive, and did you gather what Longius said? Let loose in the world. And as you were probably told on Easter Sunday by Meg or whoever was here, the resurrection is not an appendage to Calvary. It's not an adjunct to the gospel. It's not a codicil to the divine will. When Christ left the grave on Easter Sunday morning, it was cosmic victory and it was a cosmic event. It was Matthew Arnold, the great writer, whom you probably studied way back, that said the resurrection is the best attested fact in history. I don't need to tell you that Jesus was seen by Peter and the apostles, by Mary Magdalene, by Mary, the wife of Cleopas, the two disciples on the way to Emmaus. He was seen by 500 people at once. He was seen by James, the Lord's brother, and the disciples at Lake Tiberias. In fact, he prepared breakfast for them and said, "Come and dine." And then, of course, St. Paul said, last of all, he was seen by me on the Damascus Road. And that changed, of course, Paul's life. Let loose in the world, oh yes! And I know that in my own heart, that he's let loose to minister to us, to love us. Was it empty rhetoric from David Livingstone, who said it was not just himself that went tramping through Africa, it was not just himself that went tramping through Africa, no. Was it fever or delirium when Samuel Rutherford wrote to a friend from prison, "Jesus Christ came into my cell last night, and every stone in my cell flashed like a ruby." Shackleton, on his journey to the South Pole through the ice and the snow in 1909, his helpers said to him, and here it comes, "There was another person walking with us to the South Pole, Shackleton. There was another person walking with us to the South Pole." You've already been told and reminded again on Easter Sunday that the tomb was empty, the body had gone. The women did not go to the wrong tomb, and Jesus didn't simply swoon and then later revive. No. Thieves did not come and steal the body. God raised up the Lord Jesus from the dead. And the open graveyard, the open sepulchre, the open tomb are gaping. He is not here.